Good morning, everyone. I'm Tom Woolfolk, CAAR President, and I welcome you to our virtual November General Membership and Annual Meeting, which includes our 2021 Officers and Directors election. To continue with today's agenda, please stand where you are and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and please be seated. Now we will be moving on to the approval of the minutes from CAAR's September Development and Economic Summit. The minutes were sent to you in a reminder email and are available in the handouts section in your GoToWebinar toolbar. Are there any additions or corrections to the distributed minutes? If so, please submit your feedback using the question chat box in your GoToWebinar toolbar. Seeing no corrections or additions, they stand approved as distributed. Thank you. Next, I would like to recognize today's supporting sponsor, Farm Credit of the Virginias. Farm Credit of the Virginias is part of a nationwide network of cooperative lending institutions that provides financing for farm and country home loans, land purchase, home construction and improvements, buildings, machinery, livestock and equipment, and operating expenses and lines of credit. At this time, I would like to share some association reminders, announcements, and upcoming events where we are engaging with the local community. I hope each of you will take the first step to increase your sphere of influence by signing up to volunteer on a CAAR 2021 master group, project team, or committee. Influence from collaborating among realtors, local government, and the community is one of the many ways CAAR is your gateway to more. Learn more about each master group and committee and complete a 2021 volunteer interest form by Monday, November 23rd. 2021 volunteers will be notified of their service in December. If you had the opportunity to know CAAR past President Pat Jensen, you know she was a tremendous realtor, broker, association president, leader, and Realtors Political Action Committee advocate. As a tribute to her legacy, the CAAR Board of Directors established the Pat Jensen Leadership Academy in 2017. The Academy is intended to foster knowledge and encourage further movement of volunteers into additional leadership roles in the Realtor organization at the local, state, and national levels. The inaugural class graduated during the installation of officers and directors in January 2019. We are excited to make a call for applications for the second class later this month, so be on the lookout for the official email and schedule of events. I'm excited to announce that the 2021 class co-chairs are CAAR board member Rachel Burns and CAAR past president Anthony McGee. As you know, CAAR continues to support our local community during these difficult times. I'm thrilled to share our last blood drive in September, which was co-hosted with the Blue Ridge Home Builders Association, resulted in 33 pints of blood. So far this year, we have donated 116 pints of blood to our local community. To help you put that into perspective, one donation potentially saves up to 3 lives. Based on our dedication and tremendous results, the American Red Cross have asked for our help again in December. We will co-host another blood drive with the Blue Ridge Home Builders Association at the Hillsdale Conference Center on Tuesday, December 1st and Wednesday, December 2nd. Please make an appointment to donate using the American Red Cross website today. As we head into the holiday season, we will work alongside the Young Professionals Network to support the efforts of the Salvation Army. We will have 2 dedicated days for bell ringing at Barnes & Noble, located at the Barracks Road Shopping Center, Monday, December 7th and Tuesday, December 15th. We are looking for 2 volunteers per shift. Masks and gloves are required. Register for a shift using the CAAR Education and Events calendar. Next, YPN is thrilled to partner with the Salvation Army Angel Tree. This is their 6th year with the program. This year, their goal is to fulfill wishes for 100 local angels. To ensure safety, we will be distributing angel tree tags virtually. If you would like to support an angel, please email ypn@caar.com, that's ypn@caar.com, with how many angels you wish to adopt. You may include preference criteria like age and gender in your email request. Staff will send you a PDF angel tree tag, which will include the angel's criteria and wish list. Your unwrapped gift and copy of the tag should be dropped off at the CAAR office by Thursday, December 3rd. We appreciate the generous support our Realtors and affiliate membership shows for the Salvation Army Angel Tree program, and YPN hopes they can count on you again this year. CAAR, in partnership with the Women's Council of Realtors, Blue Ridge, is wrapping up its last session of a virtual diversity and inclusion series this month. The purpose of the series is to empower Realtors and affiliates to address racial injustice in our community and around the nation. The series is made possible by a $5,000 National Association of Realtors diversity grant. While we address these important topics at the local level, the National Association of Realtors is also addressing diversity and inclusion, fair housing, and other important topics impacting Realtors and their clients. We are fortunate to have NAR Region 3 Vice President and Virginia Realtors past President, Deborah Baisden, with us today to tell us more. Deborah, I pass the meeting over to you.
Good morning, Charlottesville area Realtors, and thank you, Allie and President Wolford and the leadership team for the opportunity to share some important updates from your National Association of Realtors President and the extended leadership team. First, greetings and thanks to all for your incredible resiliency through the adversity presented over the past several months. We will, as an industry, lead the nation in its economic recovery. I have no doubt. NAR announced a couple of things that I think that are of interest to us, that total sales, existing home sales jumped nearly 9.4% from September to October. Nationally, sales are up 21% from a year ago. However, the first-time home buyer share declined to 31% in September, and foot traffic has seen a slight decrease. Your Chief Economic Advisor, Lawrence Yun, anticipates there will be further gains in sales for the remainder of the year if job recovery continues and with mortgage rates hovering around 3%. Existing home sales rose in every region of the U.S. last month, driven, I know that you know this, by low inventory. With real estate making up nearly 1/5 of the U.S. economy, these sales trends are promising news for Realtors and for our country. While you're looking out for your clients and your business, NAR is looking out for you in Washington. We scored some major wins for Realtors in COVID-19 relief legislation, and we continue to advocate for additional relief measures for our industry. Realtors made sure that independent contractors and those on commission-based income were eligible for SBA loans, unemployment assistance, and paid sick and family leave. This was the first time ever that independent contractors were eligible for stimulus funds. NAR is in opposition to the tightening of the interpretation of independent contractors as suggested this past month by the Department of Justice, so we'll be working on that. We also stood up for consumers supporting mortgage forbearance measures to allow borrowers of government-backed mortgages to request up to 360 days of payment forbearance, and to take quick action to appropriate more funds for payroll protection. And we're looking for more relief soon, as soon as we have our election results final. In the meantime, NAR leadership met with the White House in September to address the need for additional funding for rental and unemployment assistance after the administration issued an executive order to halt evictions through the end of the year. The staff told us the administration is open to including rental assistance in an additional stimulus bill, and we're working on legislation in Congress. We're also pleased that Congress passed a one-year extension of insurance writing authority for the National Flood Insurance Program, but the job is not done. We continue to urge Congress to make long-term reform a priority moving forward. Some of NAR's other advocacy priorities include online remote notarization so that online closings can take place in all 50 states. We have it here in Virginia, as you know. Liability protections for businesses that reopen following federal and state guidelines, and reforms and continued relief for the 1031 like-kind exchange and opportunity zones. Our commercial property owners are in a very precarious position, and we need legislative and financial relief there. Another main focus on our advocacy efforts is a priority addressing equality and affordability in housing. We must help more families build wealth through the American dream of home ownership. Earlier this year, the NAR leadership team adopted a fair housing plan called ACT, which stands for Accountability, Culture Change, and Training. The viability of our 1.4 million members depends on the free, transparent, and efficient transfer of property in this country. We're providing fair housing enforcement and education recommendations for the state AUs who seek to strengthen the real estate licensure laws. We're developing a discrimination self-testing program for brokerages who want to assess whether their employees are providing equal service to prospective clients of different backgrounds. We're creating a fair housing training platform with interactive scenarios that allow users to step into the shoes of both clients and agents. And an implicit bias classroom training program and a video that have been developed based on the latest scientific research, which illustrates how the human brain's instant automatic association of stereotypes can impact our treatment of people who are different from us. We invite you to watch and share NAR's new video on implicit bias and watch for the proposed changes to the Code of Ethics, which will address this issue, if passed, next week at the Board of Directors. I did share that with your president so that you have an opportunity to look through this, and please reach out to any of your state NAR directors. Please reach out to me directly if you'd like, and help me with making that decision on behalf of our members, because it will have some broad application to our professional standards groups and the Code of Ethics. Personally, I've gotten a lot from that video, and it reinforced that change starts with me. You can also get the at-home and diversity certification. It's designed to help realtors work successfully within a rapidly changing multicultural market. I took the course just last week. Thankfully, I passed. Last year, we created a Fair Housing Policy Committee, and we're pivoting our Strategic Thinking Advisory Committee, or STAC, to make NAR the leader in addressing racial inequality. We announced a partnership with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce's Equality of Opportunity Initiative to examine inequality and advance economic inclusion in America. We're also looking at disparities in the appraisal process. Research has shown this to be contributing to the wealth gap between white and Black households. NAR is creating a racial discrimination and valuations work group to further study the issue and recommend policy solutions. And to spread the message, we released an extension of our That's Who We Are campaign, focusing on realtors' commitment to fair housing. Change starts with each one of us. This is our lane, and this is our time for realtors to step up and lead. Most importantly, we continue to listen and learn, and create a safe environment within the realtor family to have these discussions. The conversations we are having now as an industry and as Americans allow us to take informed action together. You probably heard we had an election on Tuesday. There's a lot at stake for realtors that makes our advocacy work and our collective voice more important than ever. Your continued support of our PAC makes that work possible. Years of investment and relationship building have helped us secure the protections our members needed to weather the storm. With your continued contributions, we can keep fighting to protect homeowners, support the real estate industry, and drive the economy forward. Let me remind you that NAR is here to serve our members any way we can, and you have a voice. A special thanks and congratulations to all the CAAR members who will serve on our national committees in 2021. That's Lisa Herndon, Carrie Jennifer, Denise Ramey, Pat Suri, and Arlene Dobbs. Wonderful to see members step up and join in these conversations. The leadership team hopes to see you, virtually that is, at NAR's 2020 Annual Conference and Expo, which began on November 2nd and continues through the 18th. The theme is Find Your R. Registration is still open at conference.realtor, and for $199, you'll have access to dozens of education sessions, which can be streamed for 30 days after the event. All the governance activities, networking, and expo events. This is a perfect time for you to look at a committee that you might be interested in and listen in and see if it's something you may want to apply for in future years. 2020 will be remembered for many things. We haven't just had to adapt how we do business. We're supporting our clients in a time of great stress while caring for ourselves and our families. We're leading the way on policies that build safe, inclusive communities, and we're continuing to help families fulfill their dream of home ownership. We're confident that realtors will lead the country through the recovery to a more prosperous future. And the leadership team looks forward to a day, sometime soon, when we can gather in person to recognize how much we've achieved this year. Thank you, and enjoy the holiday season, and greetings from the National Association of Realtors. Thank you, President Tom, for your time.
Thank you, Deborah. We appreciate you being with us today, and I want to personally thank you for all you do as our Region 3 Vice President. Next, we will move on to our annual meeting portion of this event. I would like to ask Teely Jennifer, CAAR's immediate past president, to conduct the CAAR Officers and Directors election. Teely has served as chair of the nominating committee this year, and she will now give us an overview of that group's diligent work and formally introduce the slate of candidates for 2021.
Thank you, Tom. Before I present the slate of candidates, I want to give you an idea of what went into the nominating process. The nominating committee carefully considered all the candidate applications and conducted interviews to evaluate leadership skills to select the next set of board members. As chair of this committee, I would like to thank those members on the nominating committee. They took their job very serious, and I appreciated all their input. Robin Amato, Ray Cadell, Jordan Haig, Percy Montague, and Denise Ramey. Thank you for the great job you did. I'm excited to officially announce the candidates for the Executive Leadership Board of Directors in 2021 as presented on the ballot. The first two positions have already been elected, so there is no action needed today. Quentin Beckham will serve as CAAR president, and Tom Wolfick will serve as immediate past president. Now it is time to announce the candidates who you will be voting for today. For those nominees, President-elect Pam Dent, Treasurer John Seidler, 3-year Director Reeves Bailey, 3-year Director Lisa Herndon, 3-year Director Georgia Lindsay, and 1-year Director Rachel Foster. Also listed on the ballot are the following board members who are fulfilling remaining terms: Rachel Burns, Ann Burrows, Aaron Manis, Tom Pace, Ginger Slavic, and Keith Smith. We appreciate the time and service these members are providing to CAAR. Please note that only CAAR primary and secondary realtor members can vote. Affiliate members, non-members, salespersons, and MLS-only members are not eligible. Realtor members, you should have received an email from CAAR at 9 a.m. this morning. You can vote one of two ways. First option is the online ballot. Second option is the fillable PDF, which you can fax or email. Please encourage all your colleagues in your office to participate in the election before 5 p.m. today. And thank you again, everyone, for volunteering, and thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Teely. Before we conclude the election portion of our program, I would like to recognize our outgoing board members, Mary Catherine King and Kathy Markwood. Thank you so much for your time and energy that you've committed to our association over the years. You've truly made an impact, and I personally very much appreciate the support you have provided me this year. While we continue to live in a pandemic, how are you connecting with your clients? Do you find it challenging to keep in touch when you're not supposed to be touching? Well, we're in luck. Featured speaker Sean Carpenter is here to give us ideas on how to build relationships, solve problems, and have a bit of fun in between. Sean, take it away.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it. Let me share my screen with everybody. First of all, I wish I was there with you guys in person. I can't wait to get back to some live in-person events, and hopefully that'll be before we know it in the new year. But certainly I'm thankful to be here. And I want to share a presentation I call How to Keep in Touch When You're Not Supposed to Be Touching. You know, I thought this was a cute title back in March or April when the pandemic just started. And it really has stuck as a keynote that really works for today's marketplace, because no matter where we're at in the market, we are all still trying to be respectful of our customers, our clients, and our communities, and still stay busy and still stay active and do that. So I'm Sean Carpenter from Columbus, Ohio. I've been in Charlottesville one time before, and I got to speak on your beautiful campus there at University of Virginia. I believe you call it the grounds, not the campus, but had a great time there. I still tell stories about my experience there. Got to go to see Virginia play against Louisville when Virginia was #1 in the country. So that was a great experience. And I had a great meal at the Verge, which I still talk about. So shout out to the girls at the Verge, Aaron and Hannah, who were my servers that night. Great care of me. 22 years in the real estate business, guys. I've been an agent. I've been a manager. I've been the director of training with a company in Columbus and Cincinnati. And in the last 5 years, I've jumped back into sales, working with buyers and sellers here in Central Ohio, as well as serving as a speaker around the country. I miss being out and about in front of people, but the virtual platform has worked well. My philosophy is really simple. I want to share it as we start our presentation, because my philosophy has been the same as an agent, as a manager, as that director of training, and now that I'm back selling and speaking. I think real estate's about three things. It's about building relationships, solving problems, and having fun. Think about those three things we just talked about. Build relationships. If every single day we can be building relationships with people, either new relationships with someone we've never met, or deepen a relationship with someone that we've known for years. If we can help people solve their problems, and whether they're real estate related problems or not, if we help people solve problems on a regular basis, they're going to call us when they have a real estate problem. And if we can have fun doing it, I just think that's a good way to go through life. So to the new agents out there, to the experienced agents out there, if you focus on those three things, building relationships, solving problems, and having fun, I promise you the contracts and the closings will take care of themselves. And so literally, guys, when I lay my head on the pillow each night, I try and fall asleep by asking myself, did I build relationships today? Did I solve problems today? And did I have fun today? And if I answer yes to those things, almost everything else is going to take care of itself. So I want to encourage you, if you are on social media, if you're watching your webinar today from your couch or your kitchen table, or maybe even in your office, grab your phones, connect with me on social, or be out sharing anything that you're hearing in today's presentation, and encouraging people to vote for your directors, because I know that's a very important role there. But I'm at Sean Carp on both Twitter and Instagram. Many of you guys already follow me, but I'll look forward to connecting with some new friends. But let's start with something I learned from the great Lou Holtz. Lou Holtz was a former football coach, started as a professional coach at New York Jets, but then he got into the college scene, Arkansas, Minnesota. He obviously won a national championship at Notre Dame, and he finished his career at the University of South Carolina. Lou Holtz talks about the win philosophy. What's important now? And it's such a great reminder for all of us to continuously be asking ourselves, what's important now? And certainly now in the world we're in, our health and our family's health should take priority. And then obviously those in our communities, being everything we can. So keep asking yourself, what's important now? There's a lot of things right now going on in our world that are distractions, and maybe at the end of the day aren't going to be as important as the relationships that we have with the people in our towns and in our industry, both in our companies and in our association there at Charlottesville. So just keep that in mind. And everything I'm going to talk about in this webinar today are things you've heard before. But that's okay, because we're hearing things we've heard before right now in our world, right? We're hearing people say, make sure you cover your mouths when you cough or sneeze. Well, we've heard that before. People are saying, hey, make sure you wash your hands. Well, we've heard that before, but it's certainly is good advice. And people are saying, make sure you stay socially distant so you don't catch or transmit anything to somebody that you might not want to do that. So there's things we've heard before, but it's always good to be reminded. People always say, I'm going to get back to the basics this year. And I always want to say, well, if the basics work so well, why would you quit doing them? Why would you have to get back to the basics? Why don't we just keep doing the basics? So even though it's things we've heard before, I want to challenge all of you guys to grab your pen and paper and maybe take down some notes and think about things a little differently. And if it's something you're already doing in your business, then keep doing it. But if it's something you need to get back to doing, then get back to doing it. And if something you've never done, then maybe you start thinking, maybe in 2021, I'm going to start doing some of these things in my business to hopefully have some more success or different levels of success. Because here's the great news. There's nothing broken with old school. Old school still works. Old school is face-to-face, nose-to-nose, toes-to-toes, or maybe face mask to face mask, but those things still work. Sure, there's technology and sure, there's social media, but it's the person that can have their feet in both camps. Old school, right? Relationship building, taking care of the customer, earning repeat and referral business, earning trust. And then there's obviously the technology, which allows me to build relationships, solve problems, and have fun on a further basis. I can solve problems and build relationships and have fun further and faster and freer than I ever could without social media and technology, but I still need to be able to touch people face to face. And so let's start with, as Zig Ziglar said, that famous motivational speaker from Texas, let's start with that check up from the neck up, because I think it always all starts there, right? Doesn't it all start with our attitude? And we have that voice in our head. Every one of you has a voice in your head. And it's either a positive voice or it's a negative voice. And boy, in this world we're in right now, we've got to make sure that we are programming our brain to be positive. We got to make sure that every day we're asking ourselves this question when we wake up. Is today going to be a great day or a great day? And if the answer is not a great day, I challenge you to hit your snooze button, lay in bed for 10 more minutes, think about where you're at in the world, and then when your alarm goes off again, ask yourself, is today going to be a great day or a great day? And choose it to be a great day. Make sure you're putting your feet on the floor and telling yourself it's going to be a great day. We've got to bring that attitude to ourselves, certainly to our family, to our loved ones, and then to the coworkers and the collaborators that we work with in our industry, and to our customers and our clients and our communities. When we bring a positive attitude, people will want to be around us. I'm curious, how many of you guys use affirmations in your daily lives? Raise your hands. I can't see you, but just go ahead and raise your hands. Affirmations, I've yet to talk to people that use affirmations that don't believe they work. Affirmations are nothing more than positive self-statements that you say to yourself, either subconsciously or sometimes people say them out loud, but it's just, thoughts about your business, your finances, your health, your spirituality, your family, your future. And using affirmations is a great way to kind of program that voice in our head to stay positive so that we can bring good energy to our neighbors, so we can bring good energy to our transactions, so we can have a great co-op transaction with the person across the table from us and represent our buyers and sellers in a way that's going to help raise the bar for everybody in our industry. Because as you rethink about your business, go back to that early days when you were a new agent. You've got to start treating this as a real business, not just a real estate business, not just I'm going to dabble in real estate. I'm going to check out this real estate career and see if it's something I might want to do. It's not a real estate business. It's a real business. You have to approach it like a real business. You are the president of your company. You're the marketing director of your company. You're the social chairman of your company. You're the accountant of your company. Remember, you don't work for your broker. You work with your broker. You don't work for your brand, you work with your brand. Now, I understand there's some people on here that are broker owners, and so obviously you are literally the boss, but your agents are independent contractors. You got to help them grow their business, but we got to treat it like a real business, because there's really two things that an agent does with his or her day. If I followed every one of you guys around there in the Charlottesville area, Charlottesville, Albemarle, what are the other counties down there? Crozet, I think, is one of the towns. If I followed you around down there and I took a legal pad and I just drew a line down the middle, right? Everything you do is one of two things. It's either a business development activity or it's a business support activity. That's it. Everything you do either goes on the business development side or the business support side. Now, if you think about it, guys, what do most agents spend most of their time doing? Business development activities or business support activities? I don't know if we have the ability to put it in the chat. Allie, can they type in the chat, and will I be able to see it if they type in the chat? Guys, go in the chat there and type in, what do you think most agents spend most of their time doing? Do they do business development activities or business support activities? Support, okay. First person says support. I'm gonna guess most people are gonna type in, or you're screaming at your screen, you're saying support, right? And it is support. Support's definitely the answer. Why do you think most agents spend most of their time doing business support activities? Yeah, because they're easier, because they have to get done. Look, don't get me wrong, guys, business support activities have to get done. We've got to get our contracts from in contract to closing. We've got to get our paperwork done and our forms set up and our inspections set up, and we've got to get stuff to the lender, and we got to get the appraisal scheduled. But here's the number one reason why most agents spend most of their time doing business support activities. Because there's no rejection involved in business support activities. Yeah, that's the reason. There's no rejection involved in being on MLS and searching for houses. There's no rejection involved in creating a flyer for an upcoming open house. There's no rejection involved in putting labels on mailers. But here's what I do know. If you spend all of your time doing business support activities and not business development activities, there soon is no business to support. So we got to focus on the activities to get us business so that we can support it. We have to understand that business development's a discipline, right? We have to focus on that. Next week, we have our first ever Masters in November. I'm super excited. If you're a golf fan, you're probably on the edge of your seat like I am. Can't wait to see what Augusta National looks like in November. But the best golfers in the world are going to show up at that little town in Northwest Georgia, and they're Northeast Georgia, I guess it would be, and they're going to show up before their tournament, and they're going to practice. They're going to practice chipping and putting and driving and sand shots and all the things about their game. They're going to practice because that's what the professionals do. Business development, guys, is a discipline. It's a practice. We need to show up and practice our scripts and our dialogues and our objection handling techniques and our asking for business and our ability to go past the no. And that's okay. We've got to keep doing that. And then we can support the business. But just think, guys, in your 2021 business plan, what type of business development activities do you have in there during the course of a typical day, week, month, and year to make sure that you are generating the business you need to hit your goals? So let's start by looking at the 4 levels of a successful real estate business. I like to look from the top down. And for those of you taking notes, this might be a perfect time for you to sort of go in there and shake up your business a little bit and really say, have I been really operating from a top down? Let's look at level 1. Level 1 is called your database. Very simple definition. Anyone I have contact information for. Your database is that top level. If I just look from above, all of you guys should have some sort of a database as your level 1 contact list, right? That's anyone you have contact information for. Now, most people, if I looked at most agents' databases, it's a combination of names, addresses, emails, and phone numbers. Names, addresses, emails, and phone numbers, right? But most of you, if I truly looked at your database, you're going to have some names with addresses, some names with addresses and phone numbers, some names with emails and a phone number but not an address, maybe a name, address, and phone number but no email. So it's kind of a mismatch of names, addresses, emails, and phone numbers. But that's okay. That's level 1 is your database. Now let's go a level deeper. Let's look at level 2. Level 2 is your sphere of influence. Look at the definition. I know them and they know me. I know them and they know me. Now this is critical. Make sure everybody's paying attention to this part. Everybody in my sphere of influence is part of my database, but not everybody in my database is part of my sphere of influence. Let me explain. Your database was anyone you have contact information for, right? So your database might include your homeowners association because they send out a phone book of all the people living in your neighborhood. Or maybe your database includes people from your church or your softball league or your bowling league or your bikers club or your soccer league or your kids teams. So it's just contact information. But if you're at the grocery store tonight and somebody from your homeowners association that lives 6 blocks over and 2 cul-de-sacs back that you've never met before is in front of you, and behind you is the mother of the catcher on a baseball team that your son's team is going to play next week, they're total strangers to you. Even though they're in your database, you don't know them and they don't know you. So your sphere of influence is so much more powerful than your database. So whatever your database is, your sphere of influence is going to be a smaller number. Now, you're going to build and grow and leverage your database by what I call the ripple effect. We should all be leveraging the ripple effect. And the ripple effect basically says this, guys. If I know 100 people and they know 100 people, I'm only one contact away then from 10,000 people. And if those people know 100 people, I'm only 2 contacts away then technically from 100,000 people. But here's my rhetorical question to you guys out there watching around the Charlottesville area today. Would you rather know a lot about 5 people or nothing about 500? Let me ask again and pay attention. Would you rather know a lot about 5 people or nothing about 500? Yeah, you'd rather know a lot about 5 people. Because if those 5 people turn around and tell the 100 people in their tribe, hey, everybody, come to the front of the line. If you need real estate help, my friend Sean Carpenter will take great care of you, right? That's how so many people get in our business and they say, Sean, I already know those 5 people. I don't need to know them any better. I need to meet more people because my person at my pre-licensing school or my broker told me I need to build a bigger database of more people, of more strangers. So you want more strangers and you're gonna walk right past the people you know at the front of the line to talk to total strangers? It doesn't make sense to me, guys. We need to leverage the ripple effect and let it work for us. So here's what I want to challenge you to do over these next 6 or 7 weeks before the 2021 year is upon us. Let's look at our list where we have our names, our sphere of influence, right, in our database, whether it's in an Excel spreadsheet or in an index cards in a recipe box or a CRM, if you pay for a professional CRM. Here's what I want to challenge you to do. Let's think of our database as a big Excel spreadsheet. Whether you use Excel or not, I think you've seen an Excel spreadsheet before. And let's just picture a big Excel spreadsheet up on the wall. And in column number 1, we're going to put our client's name. Column B, we're going to put our client's address. Column C, D, and E, we're going to put their home number, work number, and cell number. Now, I know, there's people out there that only have one number. But let's have columns for home number, cell number, work number. Because a lot of us have one of those numbers or 2 of those numbers, but we don't have all 3. If we're building a database, if we're building a sphere of influence list, we want to have everything. The next column is going to be client's email address. Now we might need 2 columns for personal email and work email, right? They might have an @company.com and they might have an @Gmail or @Yahoo or @me or live.com. Then we're going to have the next column for the spouse or partner's name. We're going to have to add a couple columns for the spouse or partner's cell number, home number, work number, email address, personal email address. We're going to want to have some columns for kid's name, kid's name, kid's name. Yeah, we're already scrolling now across our page to add in columns for kid's name, kid's name, kid's name. If they're Catholic, kid's name, kid's name, kid's name, right? We're gonna have a bunch of columns for kids' names. We're gonna have a column for pets' names. True or false, pets are part of people's families. Sure they are. So we wanna have their pets' names in our database. We wanna have their birthday, the spouse or partner's birthday, the anniversary, and the kid's birthday, the kid's birthday, the kid's birthday. We wanna have where they went to college. We wanna have where they work. We wanna have the website for where they work. We want to have all their social channels, their Facebook page and their Twitter handle, their Instagram handle, their TikTok or Snapchat handle, their Instagram handle. Now, I know some of you are thinking like, Sean, that's way more information than I ever would need. Okay, well, first of all, let me ask you a question. Let's just say you had 200 names. Or Allie, are you there? Maybe, Allie, can you jump on and let me have a conversation with you? I want to see if we can make this interactive for a second. I know you're not an agent, but you work with the agents there. Are you able to jump on, Allie?
I'm here.
Okay, so Allie, let me ask you a question. A typical agent is going to have how many names in their list? Let's say they have 200 names in their list. How many people do you think would have all that information we just talked about in their database?
Not a lot. I would say maybe they have that information of maybe
10?
20, 25 people.
Let's say 20 or 25. That's a perfect answer. 20 or 25 people that they have all that information for, but 175 people or 180 people that they don't have that information for, right? That's fair, and that's probably a pretty good guess because they have their brother and their best man from their wedding, right? All the people they know. Here's my question to you, Allie, and you speak on behalf of your members there. If you had that information for 20 of your 200 people, do you have more reasons to talk to those other 20 people?
Hopefully they're going to talk to them to get that information and get to know those other people.
Yeah, but what I'm asking you is, would you have more reasons to contact those 20 than the other 180 that you don't have any of that information for? Would you have more things to talk to them about that aren't real estate related?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. And so here's the great news for everybody in the room here that says like, Sean, I don't have all that stuff for all my clients. Here's the great news. You have your entire career to fill that grid in. It's okay if you only have bits and pieces, because really if I looked at your number, 134, you've got their address, you've got one of their kids' names, but they have 3. You don't know what their dog's name is, but you know they have a dog. So over time, if you start adding those things in from every interaction on social media and face-to-face, when you talk to them, you start adding those names in there. Eventually you're building a sphere of influence that you can work with and have a reason to talk to. So Allie, you can go back on mute again. Thanks for letting me chat with you for a second. But guys, just understand, the more of this you have, the more reasons you have to talk to people, especially now during a pandemic when we're looking to stay in touch with people and we don't always want to be that guy or that girl that's always talking real estate. You gather all this information and you have more reasons to follow up with these people. Now, how many people should be in your sphere of influence? Okay, well, let's talk generic numbers. There's a little over 330 million people in the United States of America. There's just a little over 1.45 million members of the National Association of Realtors. So if you do the math, for every realtor, there's 228 people. So that's a number I'd write down on my sheet of paper, 228. Do you have 228 people in your sphere of influence? I know them and they know me. Now, if you've been in the business for years and years and years, you've probably got way more than that. If you're a newer agent and you don't have 228, that's the number you're working towards. Once you get to 228, start adding. Because let me just ask generically, if you knew 228 people in Charlottesville area, what are the odds that they don't know at least one other realtor? I asked Allie when we started how many members are in your board. She said 1,300. There's 1,000 agents and 300 affiliates. So what are the odds that your 228 people don't know another realtor? Probably pretty slim, right? I would guess so. So that's just playing the odds that they're going to think of you when they think of real estate. So I'd be aiming for 228 and then trying to grow that every single day of people that I know them and they know me, so that when they think real estate, they think of me. We're trying to earn that top of mind awareness. Now, level 3, let's go a level deeper, is our clients. Very simple definition. They've done business with me in the past. If you're taking notes, write that down. They've done business with me in the past. Notice I didn't call them past clients. I called them clients, your clients. Because even if your clients have sold their home there in your county and moved away, they moved up to DC, they moved down to Florida, they moved over here to Columbus, Ohio. Well, they used to live in Charlottesville. They grew up there. They went to high school there. They went to UVA. They taught there for 14 years. They have family and friends in the neighborhood. They might move back. So they're not out of your life. You still want to stay in touch with them, don't you? You still want to earn repeat business and referrals from them, don't you? Yeah, so your clients. Now your database is whatever the number is. Your sphere of influence, remember we're aiming for 228. How many clients have you had? How many clients? Write down the number for clients. Now, once again, because you're running your business like a business, you should know that number. Now, it's probably a large number of people watching this right now that you're just kind of guessing a number. You're like, I don't know, a couple hundred. 300 or 400. Now, some of you are saying like, I've had 33, Sean, because you've been in the business for 2 years and you know exactly how many pieces of business you have. Good for you. You should know how many pieces of business you had. But for the rest of you guys, I want you to figure out how many clients you've had. Now, there's 2 parts to this question. Number 1 is how many transactions you've had. How many closed transactions have you had? How many times have you sat at the closing table and metaphorically closed a deal? See, but understand something, that's what we count. That's what we in the business count. We close 100 deals. We close 127 deals a year. We close 62 deals a year, 37 deals a year. We count them as transactions, but you know who doesn't count them as a transaction? The client. The client thinks of it as a transition from this part of their life to this part of their life. They're moving from this chapter to this chapter. They don't look at it as a transaction. They look at it as a transition. So once you know how many clients you have, how many transactions you've had, okay? So let's just use an example. Let's say that someone out there has done 229 closed units, right? How many of you guys remember when McDonald's used to have a number on the sign? Remember McDonald's used to have a number, it said 47 million hamburgers sold, 89 million hamburgers sold, 150 million hamburgers sold. Now it says billions and billions served. They changed their term from sold to served. Here's the question I want you guys to work on this weekend when you're coming up with your numbers. How many closed transactions have you had? But then I want you to figure out how many families you've served. See, let's use that example, 229 closed transactions. But if I look at those numbers, I had some people that were sellers and they also bought from me, or they bought and sold. So they've used me maybe 3 or 4 times in my career. So let's say I've helped 194 families of those 229 transactions. The reason why I want you to know that number is because we count the 229, guys. That's what we care about. But the consumers want to know how many families you've taken care of. How many families have you served? Imagine if you're at 194, and let's say you have a pretty good November and December book of business coming up. Let's say we've got 6 more closings coming up. That means on your last closing of the year, assuming they're all different families, you can stand outside that closing room, go on Instagram or Facebook Live and say, hey, everybody, it's Sean Carpenter with XYZ Real Estate. Over my shoulder is Mike and Sally Jenkins. They're clients of mine. They're getting ready to buy their first house here in Charlottesville. They moved down from Baisden, and they're really excited to be first-time home buyers. And guys, they're going to be my 200th family that I've got to help in the Charlottesville area with their real estate needs over the last 11 years in the business. And on behalf of them and on behalf of all my other 199 clients, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to help you with what I feel is the most important decision you're going to make in your career. See, guys, that tells a story. Number of transactions, who cares? Number of families you've served. Start thinking in terms of how many families have I served, and look for those milestones. 50 families, 75 families, 100 families, 200 families. I really challenge you guys to start thinking differently about how many families you've served. And the last level is your bullseye. Now, these people want my success almost as much as I want it myself. This is your best man from your wedding. It's your spouse. It's your kids. It's your parents if they're still alive. It's the people that are constantly listening for people who are buying and selling. They're the ones that call you and text you and say, there's a FSBO on my street, or my receptionist at the office is getting divorced and she's going to need to sell. They're constantly trying to feed you business. Well, if your database is the number that it is, your sphere is supposed to be 228, your clients are whatever the number is, here's the number I want you to write down for your bullseye. I want you to write down 20. Write down 20 and circle it. 20 and circle it. Why 20, Sean? Well, if I take a typical month and I cut off the weekends, how many business days are left? 20. So if I put Allie's name and Charlotte's name and Abby's name and Mike's name and Bob's name and Sharon's name on each of those days, it means on that day, I need to call my friend Bob and make sure I touch base with him. Because he's in my bullseye, I don't have to talk to him about real estate. I can just say, Bob, hey, what's going on? Did you watch the game last night? Hey, Bob, you gonna be at the gym this weekend? Hey, Bob, I got an opening in my golf foursome this weekend. You want to play? All I'm trying to do is earn top of mind awareness. Just every 20 days or so, get my mind back up to that top of mind. Whether it's my next door neighbor, my spouse, my mom, I'm just on purpose trying to get business from them. In fact, write those 2 words down as your maybe word of the year for 2021, on purpose. I want you guys to be successful on purpose, not by accident. If I'm throwing darts at the dartboard, where am I aiming? I'm aiming at the bullseye because that's technically where you get the most points. So many people don't aim at the bullseye. They say, Sean, the bullseye, I already know those people. They love me. I don't need to spend time with them. They already know me. I'm going to try and build a bigger target so I can have a better chance of hitting somebody every time I throw a dart. Wait, so you're going to build a business out of total strangers and hope to push them into the middle? Instead of being so good with the people in the middle, you pull business in from the people on the outside and say, I want that experience. How do I get what they're getting in the middle? So if you think about it, guys, your target or the people on the outside, the total strangers, they might get your annual newsletter. The next ring in gets that plus your 12 monthly e-newsletters. The next ring in gets that plus your just listed, just sold cards and your market updates. The next ring in gets that plus personal calls on their birthdays and anniversaries. The next ring in gets that plus invites to your quarterly happy hours. The next ring in gets that plus. Spend your time, effort, and money on the people in the middle because they're the ones that gave you your time, effort, and money. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. And hopefully you guys are saying like, boy, I've been thinking about this all wrong. I've been trying to push strangers into my business instead of trying to attract people into my business that want what the people in the middle get. And that's great service. That's follow-up. That's personal care and attention. That's relationships that go beyond the transaction. That's serving families in the middle. So guys, when I jumped back into the business in 2016, when I left corporate America as the director of training and went back in, started my real estate business again, because I was an agent before, I needed to start putting seeds in the ground. We need to be like farmers every day. We need to put seeds in the ground that get people thinking about us tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. I don't know if the seeds today are going to turn into a crop tomorrow or next month or next year, but I've got to be putting seeds in the ground every day. And so when I jumped back into sales, and even now during COVID, guys, one of the ways I can make sure that I'm putting seeds in the ground every day is by doing what I call the 4-H Club. And the 4-H Club, even now during COVID, I come down to my home office here in the basement of my house here in Columbus, Ohio, and every day, Monday through Friday, before I do anything else, if I'm not traveling on the road, I do what's called my 4-H Club, and I want you guys to start doing it as well. The first H is handwritten notes. Each day I start with at least 5 handwritten notes. Sometimes I write more. I wrote 7 this morning. 5 handwritten notes every day. Now, don't overthink it, guys. I just go to the dollar store or the Dollar General in my town, and I get these little cards that you can get in packs of 8, right? So there's thank you cards, there's just generic cards. I could send out, company stationery, but 5 handwritten notes, because you guys know when you get home today at the end of the day and check your mailbox, if there's 10 things in there and one's a handwritten note, what are you going to open first? The handwritten note. And you're going to read it a second time. You're going to leave it on the counter so your spouse or partner can see it. It's going to be a huge impact on somebody. The second H is I run the hot sheet. Now, you guys know what that is in your town. It might be called something different in your MLS, but the hot sheet shows me the newest listings, the price changes, the in contracts, and the closings in my specific town. Now, I don't look at all of Columbus, Ohio. I look at specifically Upper Arlington, the town right next to Ohio State campus where I live. I go through the hot sheet twice. I go through the first time to keep my finger on the pulse of the market. Then I go through it again, and I think to myself, do I know anybody that lives within a 1 or 2 block radius of that property? And if I do, they're going to get a phone call, a text, or an email about that property. Hey, Allie, just want to let you know the house around the corner from you went into contract. Hey, Mike, just want to let you know there's a new listing around the corner from you. Hey, Sally, just want to let you know the house down the street from you just dropped its price, right? All I'm trying to do is make sure when they think real estate, they think Sean Carpenter. The third H is happy birthdays. I jump onto Facebook and I see which of my friends are having birthdays and I send them a message on their wall, try and stand out from the rest of the people by leaving a message. Or if they're close friends of mine, I'll send them a video text message. I'll open up their text message, I'll hit video. I'll say, Allie, hey, it's Sean Carpenter over in Columbus, Ohio. Hey, just wanted to reach out and send you a quick video message to say happy birthday. Hope you have a great day this week, a good weekend coming up. Good luck to Virginia in their football game this week. And finish the year strong, okay? Look forward to seeing you soon. And as always, keep building relationships, solving problems, and having fun. And I hit send. Now, guys, what'd that take me? 17 seconds, 19 seconds? But I can almost guarantee you, of all the birthday messages Allie gets on her birthday, one of the few she's going to get that's a video text message will be the one that comes from me. So I encourage you to jump on and do some video messages for birthdays. And then I do what's called high fives. Very simply, I'm just on Facebook for the birthdays, right? So I just scroll over to the left-hand side where my news feed is, where my stories are. And I'm going to scroll down my news feed and I'm going to do 5 likes on people's posts. I'm going to comment on 5 people's posts. I'm going to jump onto Twitter, my favorite social channel, and I'm going to comment or retweet 5 people's posts. I'm going to jump onto Instagram and I'm going to I'm going to comment on 5 people's stories or posts. And then I'm going to send 5 random text messages to 5 people on my phone. That could be a funny GIF, it could be a meme, it could be a have an awesome day, let's do this, good luck to your team this weekend, whatever it might be, just 5 random text messages. And guys, once I've done that, once I put those seeds in the ground, I go to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts and I get my morning coffee. This is my reward for putting seeds in the ground. Now think about this. Let me go back to this. 5 handwritten notes. Let's say 2 hot sheet connections today. Let's say 13 birthdays in Facebook today. And let's say my 25 high five touches. That's 45 touches with people in my sphere of influence before 9 o'clock in the morning, before I even got my morning coffee. And how many of those were specifically about real estate? Well, you're probably saying none of them. I mean, technically the hot sheet ones were about real estate, letting them know there's something in their neighborhood that's on the market, but I wasn't really selling anything. All I was doing, guys, was putting seeds in the ground. So the next time they think real estate, they think Sean Carpenter. The next time they see the Florida Gators, they think Sean Carpenter. The next time they hear Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, they see Sean Carpenter. The next time they drink a craft beer, they think, all I'm trying to do, guys, is earn top of mind awareness, putting seeds in the ground that one day might turn into fruit. The coffee is just a little reward I get when I've done my things. And guys, guess what? We don't need there to be the pandemic to be over for us to do that. How to keep in touch when you're not supposed to be touching is the 4-H club every day. I'm hoping some of you guys out there are saying, like, I'm doing that. I'm starting the 4-H club tomorrow. I'm starting it today. As soon as this webinar is over, I'm going to start doing the 4-H club. Handwritten notes, hot sheet, happy birthdays, and high fives. I promise you, there's business down the road if you make it a consistent habit. It will work for you. Because when it comes to calling your sphere, guys, you don't have to know what to say. You have to know what to ask. It's all about using questions. Get them talking, get you listening, right? People love to talk about themselves and their families, right? Ford, family, occupation, recreation, dreams, and just have a reason to call. If you're not sure why you should call somebody, come up with a reason why you should call, text, email, pop by someone. Guys, I just gave you tons of reasons. They got a birthday coming up. Their kids' high school won a big match. You saw they got a new puppy on Facebook. Their team won a big game or has a big game coming this week, like the Florida Gators have the world's largest outdoor cocktail party against our hated Georgia Bulldogs. Right? Go to Gators. What's going on in their world? That's a reason to call. And let's give some context to this. Let's use what I call Operation Reach Out. We're going to finish up the webinar with Operation Reach Out. And I want you to, if you're taking notes there, write the word reach out vertically down your page. R-E-A-C-H-O-U-T. I'm going to give you an idea, an anecdote, an example for each of those letters of how we can keep reaching out, how we can keep in touch with our clients when we're not supposed to be touching, but still earn top of mind awareness. Be the one they think of when they think of real estate. Be the one they think of when they know someone who needs help in real estate, because wouldn't you want to be the person that they think of? Sure you would. So let's look at Operation Reach Out. The R stands for relevance. Relevance. And what I mean by this, guys, is we got to stop thinking one size fits all. It's easy for us to send one thing to everybody, but that might not be the best thing for us to send. Just because it's easy for us doesn't mean it's easy for the customer. Relevance is critical. See, people don't want generic. Most people, when given a choice, don't want generic. Now, this is a real estate audience, and even though it's early in the morning, this is probably a better, more apropos picture to show to a bunch of realtors. People don't want generic. They want brand name, they want top shelf, they want experience. And so when you realize that your clients aren't all the same, why would we send them all the same thing? If you're sending something about a 55 and older community, why would you send that to your sphere of influence people that are in their 20s? Why would you send something about millennial buying near the campus there in Charlottesville to people that are seniors? Unless you're addressing it to, hey, tell your grandkids about this. Not all clients are the same. That's why it's important to know which of your clients have pets. Let's say there was an article that came out in the USA Today or on Huffington Post And it said, Charlottesville, Virginia is named one of the top 10 cities for pet owners. Well, that'd be a cool article to share. With who? With your sphere of influence people that have pets. Because if people don't have pets, they probably don't care. But the ones that do have pets would want to know that. And if your database is set up that way, you can sort that out. Not all clients are the same. Some of our clients love to read their emails or do their work on a desktop or a laptop. Some of us love to touch a book and read a book instead of a Kindle or get handwritten notes in the mail. Many of us do all of our business through our phones. In fact, how many of you guys, you can play along with me, how many of you guys today have already opened up your email and swiped emails to the left without even reading them? Go ahead and raise your hand. I sure have. We open up our email program, we read the subject line, and we say delete, 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 because that's the way we like to manage our business. You know who else does that? Our customers. Our customers do that. So you've got to think, what's the message I'm sending out? If people are going to read it on their phone, is my subject line concise? Is my body of my email short? If they open up your email on their phone and it's literally a scroll 6 to 10 paragraphs, they're either going to hit delete or they're going to say, I'll read this when I get to my desk, which means they might miss it and might not act on it. We just got to think differently about being relevant to specific clients. The E in Operation Reach Out stands for everywhere. Everywhere. We've got to be where our customers are, which is everywhere. We don't know where our next client's coming from. Now I know some of you guys know you have a listing appointment this evening, you're showing houses to a first-time home buyer this evening. I don't mean that. I mean, we literally don't know where our next deal is coming from. It could be at the gas station today when we stop to get gas and they see our name tag on or they see our wrapper on our car, or they know we're in real estate. But we don't know where our next deal is coming from. It could be at the gym today. It could be at the golf course today. It could be at the pub or helping out at your church. So we've got to be where our customers are. We've got to have these frequent non-transaction based interactions with people. Non-transaction meaning we don't have to wait till we're in a transaction to talk to people. We've got to be in touch with people, just having lots of conversations. And where can we do that? Social media. Social media allows us to be in people's lives without being in their lives. We can see that they're taking a trip to Disney, their kids are graduating, they're building a house, they got a new puppy, right? Grandma died. We can have these frequent non-transaction based interactions so we can be everywhere our clients are. What's your marketing strategy? Your marketing strategy probably changed from March of this year as we head into 2021. How are you going to get out in front of people? Both digital marketing, personal marketing, brand marketing, right? Where are you making sure you're showing up where you might be in front of somebody when they have a real estate need or know someone who does? Now, I'm not saying you have to be in all of these places, but understand in all of these places is some realtor marketing and advertising themselves and their services and their successes. So where are you going to be? How are you going to touch different people so that you might show up when they have a need? The A stands for ask questions. Excuse me, ask questions and listen to the ones people ask you. See, the best agents ask questions, but we also have to listen to the questions people are asking us, because the more we hear the questions people are asking, the better we can specifically make our answers or educate more people who could have those same questions. Here's a couple examples from the real estate industry. Here's Shay Hata. Shay Hata, some of you guys might know her husband, Nobu Hata. Nobu Hata is used to work for NAR. Now he's out in Denver working with the Denver Realtors. And Shay is an agent who's going to be, I believe, heading out to Denver with Nobu. But when she was an agent in Chicago, Nobu and Shay were pregnant with their first child, Oliver. And so obviously, as many of you guys know, when a woman's pregnant, a lot of people ask questions like, oh, when's the baby due? Is this your first one? Blah, blah, blah. So lots of conversations started. People asked her tons of questions about the baby and about where she's shopping and where she's getting furniture and things like that. So look, on her website there, she put a resources for parents link. What a great idea. So when people asked her questions, she could maybe answer one or two of them, then say, go to my website and click on the resources for parents tab. And on that page, she had places where you could shop and sign up for classes and daycares. Well, listen, if you're an expecting parent in Chicago and you were asking questions of a random person you saw or a realtor that you knew, you went to this page, you think there's any chance that as you're scrolling down this page, you might also click on the connect with me or search for houses or featured listings? What a great idea. Listen to the questions people are asking you and then answer them. Here's my friend Michael Ackerman. Michael Ackerman's a top agent with Coldwell Banker Bain out in Seattle, Washington. Amazing agent, does a great job. Even better person than he is an agent, and he's a great agent. Michael Ackerman listens to the questions people ask him, and then he records video blogs, posts them on his website, where he just literally just starts his camera and starts talking. Hey guys, it's Michael Ackerman. A question I heard the other day was, and they're able to answer questions. So guess what? The first time home buyers we have, they're gonna ask us questions. The first time home sellers, they're gonna ask us questions. The people moving in are gonna ask us questions. The people moving out are gonna ask us questions. Let's listen to what those questions are and find a way to answer them. Make it part of our business, our Facebook page, our blog strategy. How can we make sure we're asking questions and listening to the ones people are asking? We got to inquire about everything, guys. The best salespeople ask the best questions. In fact, most listing presentations could be nothing but questions. Where are you moving to? How soon do you want to be there? Why are you moving? Have you ever sold a house before? Was it a good or bad experience? Right? It's all questions. Are you interviewing other agents? How much are you hoping to walk away with after all the expenses have been paid? Right? Are you considering selling a house by yourself? Questions, questions, questions. The more questions we ask, the less talking we do. The more questions we ask, the more listening we get to. The more listening we get to do, the more problems we get to solve. And that's what we need to focus on. The C stands for content. The C in Operation Reach Out stands for content. And what I'm talking about here, guys, is start really looking at your business as we start to slow down heading into the holidays. And hopefully we don't slow down. Market over there is probably just as crazy as it has been here in Central Ohio. But you've got to ask yourself, how can you be found in those micro moments? What's a micro moment? Well, micro moment, Google's trying to start branding this word micro moments. Micro moments are those times. Here's what micro moments used to be. Micro moments used to be when you were in line at the grocery store and the person in front of you was emptying their cart, and you would grab the National Enquirer or People magazine and flip through the magazine. When your kids were coming out of school and you'd be parked in the pickup line, you would talk to the other parents in line. Or during a ball game, when it goes in between innings and it goes to commercials, we would run to the bathroom, right? Or we would change channels to see what else was on. Micro moments are those times where in that moment, people are just, they want what they want regardless of the brand. They want to find. So a micro moment now in line at the grocery store, people don't go to the magazines, they go to their phones. Picking up kids after school, they pick up their phones. In between innings of a baseball game or at halftime of a basketball game or football game, people jump on their phones in those micro moments. They go to sites like Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, your brand site, because it's easy when I'm waiting in line at the grocery store to get lost in a home in Seattle or Vancouver or Phoenix or Miami than going to someplace to read a 6,000 word blog post. People go to sites like Instagram because I can look at pictures, I can look at stories or watch quick little videos on people's stories, on their reels. You guys do it. You know when you're just waiting in line to board a plane, you're flipping through your Instagram because you don't really have to think about it. You just sort of get a visual story of what people are doing. So what if you were the one in the story? What if people were seeing your face, seeing your expertise, seeing your sense of humor, seeing your connections in the town, seeing your successes, right? And so visuals are going to catch people's eyes. Videos and pictures are going to be way better than just words. What's the content you're putting out there to catch people? Think about that as part of your Operation Reach Out. What type of content am I putting out there so I catch people in those micro moments? H stands for humanize your business. Humanize your business. We've got to go from real estate to relationships. This is a relationship business. Always has been, always will be. We focus on the houses as part of our business, but it's not really about the houses, is it, right? It's about the people that live in the houses. And so how are you humanizing your business? You do things by being active in your community, being active in your church or house of worship or synagogue or temple, being active in your neighborhoods, being active in your local charities, your kids' schools, your country clubs, your barbershops and hair salons, your gyms, your local pubs. Guys, this page is Facebook before Mark Zuckerberg was born. This is how old school agents grow their business, by being active in these places, by knowing people's names in these places, by being a human being who's part of the community. who's a professional and part of the community and part of the church and part of the alumni association and part of the homeowners association. It's about non-scripted sales calls, literally calling people up just to talk, just to see how they're doing. How's mom and the kids, right? How's your family doing? Is everybody staying healthy? Anything I can do to help? It's about building relationships, because we're not going to sell anything on the first phone call. They say most sales happen after the 5th or more contact. In fact, only 2% of sales are made on the first contact, 3% on the second, 5% on the third, 10% on the fourth, 80% are made on the 5th or more contacts. So let's build a relationship. Let's be a human being. Let's talk about what's going on in people's lives. Let's share some of our successes, but let's also not be so non-transparent to not share some of our struggles and some of our fears and some of our frights right now, because some people will be willing to help us as well. Look at all these reasons we have to be human. To talk about kids and grandkids, to talk about pets, to talk about, you know, their teams and what you saw them doing on Facebook. And I hear every birthday coming up, or I saw your grandkids had their first birthday. How exciting. What's it like being a grandparent? I hope I have grandkids someday, right? Oh, online and offline. Online and offline. Does your digital twin look just like you? I got that from my friend Peter Brewer, who's a real estate agent trainer in Australia. And he says, does your digital twin look just like you? Because guys, since March, we've been spending a lot of time on our laptops and on our phones, talking through little webcams and seeing other people through little tiny squares on Zoom and GoToWebinar and Google Hangouts. So when people see you, are you the same person offline as you are online? When you get a chance to run into somebody in the smaller audience there at a UVA football game, and they've seen you for the last 4 or 5 months on social media, are you the same person? I love it when I go to travel to speak and someone says, gosh, Sean, this is the first time I've met you in person, but you're just like you are on Facebook. Well, good, because I'm the same person on Facebook. I'm a sports watching, beer drinking, kind of a smart aleck. And that's who I am in real life. So are you the same person? If people Google you, what will people see? In fact, that's not a bad idea for homework for you guys. Just write on your sheet of paper, Google myself tonight. And what I mean is go in there and type in your name and hit enter. Type in your name and hit Charlottesville and hit enter. Type in your name, Realtor, hit enter. Let's make sure what people see is what we want them to see. Have you maybe switched brokerages in the last couple of years, but your old brokerage still shows up on your Google page? Is there a bad review about you that you didn't know was out there? When people search for you online, are they seeing what you want them to see? U stands for understanding. Understanding, and this is a big one, guys. We got to understand clients' wants and needs and then find ways to educate them as much as possible. Kind of ties in with asking, right? Asking and listening to the questions people ask. We got to understand what people's wants and needs are. The more experience we have in the business, the more we start understanding that. If you're a new person in the business, you've got to not only understand your clients, you've got to watch the experienced agents in your office. You got to ask lots of questions to your peers and fellow agents. You got to be engaged in your board and your association so that you learn a lot about the business. You learn a lot about the people in the business. You learn how being an active volunteer in the industry is going to help you way more than it's going to take away your time growing your business. When you're active and engaged in the business, when you understand, here's my friend Steve and Heather Ostrom. They run a great husband and wife team out in Sacramento, California, in a town called Roseville and Rockland. Look on their website, they have a frequently asked an education page. So when they get questions at a cocktail party, at Topgolf, at an open house, they can say, you know, that's a great question. Here's the answer. But if you want to get more answers, go to our website and check out our frequently asked questions and education page, where they can constantly be updating it with the newest questions they're hearing from their audience, or that are coming up at sales meetings, or that they're seeing online on Facebook or on social media. Here's my friend Joe Scott. Joe runs a small boutique company in Boston called Unit Realty Group. And like most areas, people have area guides, but he does a little more in detail, where he talks about, like, here's where the dog park is in this neighborhood, and here's where you park your cars, and here's the best dry cleaner in the neighborhood. He goes into a little more detail. Guys, here's an idea. What if some of you out there started with your Instagram stories? Pick a day. Let's just say Thursday. And let's say there's someone out there named Michelle who's a newer agent. What if Michelle every Thursday, as part of her Instagram stories, does a little video that maybe is 5 or 6 little chapters long. You know, I'm talking about like chapters, like little clicks on your Instagram stories. And every Thursday she goes on and goes, hey guys, it's Michelle with XYZ Realty here in Charlottesville. And it's time for Ask Michelle about real estate. Today's question comes from my friend Mike, who wants to know, is earnest money required in the state of Virginia? That's a great question, Mike. And the answer is no, it's not required, but it will make your offers look better. Guys, in today's fast-paced market, when sellers see that you're willing to put down a large, sizable earnest money deposit, it could make your offer look better. And maybe she goes on to share a minute or two of answers. And at the end, she says, so thanks, Mike, for the question. And if you have any questions about real estate here in Charlottesville, drop me a line or send me a direct message, and you might hear from me next Thursday on Ask Michelle about real estate. And what if every Thursday, Michelle started doing a little real estate question of the week, and then the rest of the week, she talked about her kids and her dog and her coffee obsession and her big brother watching parties and the UVA football game. But every Thursday, people start following. It's like, you're the real estate girl. That's the girl that does real estate. That's how you understand people's wants and needs and then educate them. And finally, as we come to the end, and I'll stick around for some questions here, Allie, if we have some, is tell a story. Tell a story. If our story and their story match, we're going to have a connection. I want you to look at your profiles on your broker's website. I want you to look at your Facebook business pages. I want you to look at maybe your personal blog or your website. When was the last time you updated it? Does it tell a story? See, because if I move to Charlottesville and I'm scrolling through 10 or 15 different realtors pages, if all it says is I'm a full-time professional, I'm trustworthy and honest, I'm going to skip right past it because I would expect all of them to have. But if I read someone that says, like, after moving here from graduating at University of Florida, I joined this country club where I play golf 3 times a week. See, I'll see that because I went to Florida. My story matches. I'm a golfer. My story matches. You're a craft beer drinker? My story matches. If we can find common ground in your stories and your customers have a common ground with your story, there's a better chance you're going to have success. Here's a blog post from my friend Greg Fisher. Greg was an agent in Fort Worth, Texas, and he moved to Seattle. Now he's in Bend, Oregon, working with a company called Fred Real Estate. But he was a military brat. He wrote a really awesome article, shared it on Medium about being a military brat and how hard it is and how challenging it is. Well, guess what? If you're a military brat and you know the fears and the challenges of buying a house for the 10th time in the last 6 years in a new city that you know you're going to be leaving, maybe Greg's the kind of person you want to work with. Here's my friends Kim and Chavi. They run a team called the Seattle Divas in Coldbank Urbane out in Seattle. And when you go to their website, you get to see their stories. You get to literally click on read more, and you can watch a video where you can see and hear them tell their story. And then you can read about their likes and their dislikes and their hobbies and their interests and their passions. So you say to yourself, this is the kind of person I might want to work with. Some of you guys might know Jim Duncan there in the Charlottesville marketplace, right? His passions are coaching soccer with his daughter, riding his bike, right? And writing his blog, right? Like, he tells that story. And so I know that because I've watched him for the last 10 or 12 years as a blogger myself. He's got one of the best blogs out there. And so Real Central VA, right? I know his story. And so our stories match up. So guess what? Last time I was in Charlottesville, we met up for beers. And because I felt like our stories matched. And that's how people think of you, is when people match up. So Allie, I'll stick around for some questions. Guys, if you've got some good ideas, if you like some of the ideas about thinking about your business from the top down, the 4-H Club, Operation Reach Out, connect with me on my blog. It's carpscorner.net. You can subscribe to my blog, and I blog twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays. Mondays is kind of I call it my Monday morning match. It's a little inspirational story or idea to get your week started. And then my Thursdays, something newer I've started this year. It's called 30 for Thursday. It's 30 words or less, just a little message designed to sort of get you thinking as you head into the weekend. But Allie, let me do this. I'll maybe unshare my screen. I'll go back on camera wise. And if there's any questions in the chat box, okay, here's a question. Best way to build a sphere of influence database as a new agent starting during COVID. Okay, well, to whoever asked that question, here's what I would do. Go on your Facebook, go on your Twitter, Instagram, go on your social channels and start seeing which of your friends are there in Charlottesville and then which of your friends are a little further out, and start making that list, right? You can set up lists in Facebook. So you could have your, and name it, local friends, beer drinking friends, runner friends, whatever, and start building it slowly but surely. Start that database with the names, addresses, emails, and phone numbers, and then start trying to supplement all those other columns by looking on Facebook and seeing what their dog's name is, by scrolling through Facebook where they talk about their son Billy's birthday or their daughter Angie's birthday, right? Start adding in more of that information so you have more reasons to follow up with those people, because the more you follow up with them, it isn't, hey, do you know anyone who wants to buy or sell a house? They see you're active in real estate, but you're never really being pushy about it, but you're always willing to talk about it. I think that's a great way to do that. So hopefully that answers that question there from that person. Missed the E in Operation Reach Out. Love the ideas. E is everywhere. E is everywhere. And what that means, guys, is remember, you got to be everywhere your clients are, which is everywhere. We don't know where our next deal is coming from. In fact, that's one of the fun things about real estate is it's different every day, right? But what's one of the hard things about real estate? It's different every day. So the more consistency we can have in our day, that's why two things, the 4-H club, doing it every single day. If my day gets crazy, like real estate usually does, at least I know I put seeds in the ground today. Before I even went and got my coffee and started my day on inspections and negotiation counter offers and going to closings and taking the kids to soccer practice and dropping the laundry off at the dry cleaner, at least I know I put seeds in the ground today. Doing my 4-H club is one thing, right? Setting up my business plan, touching my bullseye before my business gets started. So if I start in the bullseye and work my way out into my target and I only get this far, who do I talk to? The best people. Tomorrow I start my bullseye and work my way out, I get a little further, but who do I talk to? The best people. The people on the outside of my target, they're strangers. So I start in my bullseye every day. Ali, anything else coming in? I'm trying to scroll through the chat and see what's there. Looks like a couple of people typed some things in. Would love to hear, guys, if this was the best webinar you were on today, type that in the chat. Say best webinar of the day. And Ali, thank you for having me be on part of the group. I want to see you guys do the 4-H club. I want to see you do those activities. Tom, thank you for your service to your organization this year. And I will look forward to catching up with people afterwards.
Sean, that was amazing. I took so many notes. I don't know if I can read the rest of my script here. And I've got to follow you and just business items here to end this meeting. But gosh, that was fabulous. Thank you for being here today. Can't thank you enough for that.
Thank you.
Great content, great contribution. Appreciate it. Okay, moving on after that one. As always, review the CAAR education and events calendar for upcoming classes and events. The virtual 2021 installation of officers and directors will take place on Thursday, December the 10th, from 9 to 10:30 a.m. We hope to see you there. To conclude this morning's meeting, I would like to welcome the following new Realtor members. That's a pretty good size list there, so take a good look at it. And thanks to all who have joined, and congratulations and good luck with your career at CAAR. In addition, I'd like to welcome the following new affiliate members. We have a few here. And as a reminder, Realtors can find a list of our affiliate companies using the affiliates icon on the single sign-on dashboard. So check that from time to time. A lot of good groups there, very helpful as we provide services. We rely on our service providers. Thank you again for joining this morning's meeting. I hope everyone has a great day today, and this meeting is adjourned.